Am I heard? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Check 1, 2.
Yes, I can hear you. I can see you. Bam,
Okay.
bam, bam. Yeah, man. Just a little talk before we go into some forums. You know, Randy got infiltrated. Skepticism got infiltrated. The word skeptic is not a good thing. It's like a negative. It's absurd. There's been a lesson that's been taught over time. And that is, and I've reflected on this. I'd like to hear what you might have to say about it because I notice you've been refining as well in the Wing Chun, right? So I know you're in that ballpark, right? But not necessarily on the same page. Hey, that's not an assumption I'm making.
Yeah. Come here.
But it's this. There's sentiment that it doesn't matter what people think. And I have acquiesced since Randy because it was huge on the level of like espionage, super spy, executioner, kind of fucking huge. So I had to kind of back off and really think. This has happened to me before in when I got involved in virtual reality. Guns to my head, had to back off, kind of a thing, and rethink. Interestingly enough, on both occasions, I actually started thinking before that event happened. You kind of know things are getting intense, and then it all falls, right? And you go, "Shit, yeah, that was real." So my thoughts when it came to the whole skepticism thing, because skepticism got taken over by atheism. Now, I had asked Randy, he had never said this to my understanding or written this in any of his books. Said, but I had asked him, I said, if you don't believe in God, how come you don't go after God? And he's like, that's off. That's off. That's off the table. Because nobody knows if there's an invisible man up in the sky. Nobody knows that. You don't know if there's dragons up in the sky where you can't see. Unless, of course, you're a scientist and you're lying. You got the
Yeah,
internet.
I mean, there's possibility that we could be living in an underlying dimension that's just on the same surface, but in a different dimension. Anyways, that's a
Yeah,
different
you can't get too
hypothesis.
fluffy. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
get
yeah,
too
yeah,
fluffy.
yeah, yeah.
I've always said, one of the things that Wing Chun has taught me is that when somebody gets a little too wishy-washy philosophically, they should just get punched in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, a punch in the face will really bring you down to earth and go, okay, yeah, mass equals force times, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Right, right.
Because
So he said,
people leave out the basics and then throw all kinds of shit that's like, what the fuck? Okay, so getting back to it.
yeah, he said that was off like
Yeah,
topic that because it can't be disproved.
well, yeah, you're wasting your time.
Hmm.
You don't um argue over objective truth. That's not what you do with objective truth. You don't argue about objective truth.
Hmm.
And things that can be objectified are usually things that have been around for a long fucking time. Aloha, Justin. Yes, aloha.
Good to see you in, man. I
Good
was
to
wondering
see
if
you,
that was
man.
you.
Yeah. So it's really important. It's really, really important now. I mean, I've laid off it, but I'm not going to do it anymore because atheism is not something I'm interested in. Atheism, whatever, man. Sure,
Hmm.
okay, whatever. Yeah, if I'm an atheist, so is everyone else. All right, so let's not throw the A word around, right? Um, but anyone that uses a belief system, regardless if you believe in God, Buddha, whatever the fuck you believe in, if you're using your belief system to argue objective truth, then that is not okay. And this is where Wing Chun shines because Wing Chun allows you to be safe within that realm. You just do the right thing. You walk away, whatever. But up here, in here, it is not okay for people to approach you and to argue objective truth. Your belief is your belief. Your faith is your faith. That's if I know what that is, then you're full of shit. You understand? If I know what your faith and your belief is, guess what? You are full of shit because your faith and your belief are highly personal fucking things.
Hmm.
And they don't need to be objectified, you fucks.
Right.
So I have to add
Yeah.
that in. So here's the thing. For a while, I have been backing off of this. I'm realizing that by doing that, we're now living in the world we're fucking living in, where people are just willy nilly arguing objective truth, willy nilly, when all this shit needs to be done, when we need to be thinking and behaving entirely different. You're going sprinting back into the goddamn caves, right? And I think that if you're going to be a martial artist, a Wing Chun man, you're going to be strong, then to me, at this particular point, arguing, even if it's up here, because a lot of times you just walk away from people. They aren't worthy. But to maintain that argument, that's how programs work. That's how mathematics work. That's how all grand things work, through the argument. Maintain the argument because it will slip in. The bullshit will slip in. That's always been my concern, that okay, after we're a symbiosis, so next thing I know, okay, yeah, Hail Mary, yeah, praise the Lord, let me lick some, let, 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 let me get a date. I mean, so so this is what I ask you, and I ask this of Justin as well, and that is, do you think it's okay that people just believe and say and expand or expound upon, I'm not saying that word right, yeah, expand, exp, all right.
Mm.
Expound, OUND, expound upon their beliefs when they are blatantly um
Mm.
conflicting objective truth.
Yeah. See, there. Yeah. There's a threshold, and once they go over that threshold, it's not okay anymore.
Okay, and what do you mean by threshold? Because my
Once it
question
get.
is, this: let's not make an exception. This is like a broad scale thing, so
Mhm.
let's not include any exceptions, because hey, we both know Trumpers that we're willing to hang out with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't include that in my overall assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah, show belief through actions. Man, Justin is he's gotten so good in his thinking. Very good, bro. Excellent. Yeah.
Mhm.
Believe through actions. Yeah, whatever it is you believe, prove it, motherfucker, right?
Yeah, that's huge because if you can't prove what you preach, if you can't prove what you preach, then
STFU.
yeah, there's no place for your words except in your head,
That's
you
right.
know.
That's right. And that's why things like spirit or, leave that in your head, man. If we get in, if I ask one simple question regarding faith and belief, um, it, you can't answer it. There is no objective answer. If I go, what is spirit to you? You're going to give me your definition. Now I'm going to go,
Mhm,
okay, what is spirit to Justin? He's going to give
mhm.
me a whole nother answer. So the word spirit isn't a very good objective point. It's not that it's not
No,
good, it's just not for
yeah,
conversation. you know,
yeah.
uh,
There's a definition for it, but it can be pooled into so many different um, other definitions. Let's say,
yes, yeah, yeah. So, however, so yes, show belief through actions. However, I want to add to Justin's comment because this is important. If you believe in nonsense, then your actions are going to be nonsense.
Mhm.
So, what do you think of that, Justin? Uh, yeah, if you think nonsense, then there's a good chance that your actions will be nonsense. Not necessarily. You may think nonsense, but your actions are all good. There's a contradiction in human behavior. I mean, think about it. 80% or so of Americans say they're religious, perhaps of Christian, right?
Mhm.
Yet 80% of people do not do the things the Bible tells them to do. Thank
Yeah.
goodness. Because especially Old Testament, Old Testament be rough. And then New Testament, you've got you've got God and his only son being tortured and executed because of everybody else's sins. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, you
you
are what
are
you
what you
eat,
eat.
but you really should be careful what you eat. Yeah. Philosophically, we're kind of talking psychology, not
I
philosophy.
think I understand what he's trying to say about you are what you eat. I think he means like
What
your
you take in.
your thoughts are what your brain digests or what you
Yeah.
choose your brain to digest, I should say,
Yes, yes,
perhaps,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
I think I know what you're saying, Justin.
Justin's coming up with some very good things there, but also with great caveats. Um, a lot of times you can't control what you hear, what you see, what you eat, what you ingest.
Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
this is where being a fighter, a Wing Chun man, comes in really handy. Again, I proved this not through fighting, but through eating McDonald's dollar meal for a whole year.
Yeah, you got the receipts to prove
I had
it.
the receipts to prove it, and I was climbing. I was climbing Mount Whitney, the highest mountain, on a regular basis. I was doing guide. I was doing rock climbing. I was teaching Wing Chun 4 days a week. I was operating at a very high level, eating McDonald's and listening to a bunch of right wing bullshit because that's the community you live in, right? So,
Yeah.
there is a, it's axioms are good, but can only take you to a certain point, right? These short one liners like, belief through actions. Very good. Yeah. You are what you eat. Very good. But axioms require a little bit more detail, and when you go
Yeah,
start talking
a little bit
axioms.
more description because axioms can be convoluted quite easily
Oh yes,
into
yes,
a lot of different meanings and definitions.
that's
So
right, that's right. So
just like how I had to decipher "you are what you eat" because
that,
literally that's like okay, you are what you ingest as food, but you meant
yeah,
it more through thoughts of what you see
yeah.
and or implemented in your brain.
That's right.
Kind of
And my
deal.
caveat stands even for that, which is you
Hmm.
can't control what you hear. Not even in
Hmm.
your brain can you control what you hear.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, shit just pops up in your head when you don't.
That's
You're
right.
like, why?
Out
What?
of nowhere.
Get?
So
What am
you
I thinking?
cannot necessarily control those things, right? Um, uh, and when you show your belief through actions, um, boy, I tell you, I wouldn't want to follow through on my beliefs. No, no, no. No, no,
Yeah.
no, because my beliefs, no, 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 I no.
I know, right? It's like, although we
Uh-uh.
are non-religious, we have beliefs,
Oh, sure, sure.
and they are,
Yeah,
they're pretty,
yeah.
they're
My
pretty
my
off
belief
topic,
my
or not
my
off topic,
belief
but off
includes a
the
purge.
tracks. Right.
My belief, yeah,
Exactly.
huge purge. So no, let's not follow my
Yeah, let's not
beliefs.
agree. Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, then that's
No good,
genocide."
no good.
Let's go back to hey, is
Yep, yep, yep,
genocide
yep, yep.
bad?
No, 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 no. So that's why I say to
uh,
myself and to everyone, calm your mind. Calm
yeah,
your mind
yeah,
because we're not beyond it, bro. We're not. We're
yeah.
not
That
the least bit beyond it. Not
hmm
even a little. As long as somebody else is doing it, we're not
hmm
even a little bit beyond it. Not even
yeah,
a little. Not even a little. And that's the world we're living in right now. That's the reality. That's the objective reality, not some subjective, like, oh, no, 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 no. You live the way you live because children, men, women, and children die and suffer and are subjugated. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That's as a, now, I would never say this to a weak person. This is an important part of everything I'm saying here. There's strong advice and there's weak advice and there's transition advice, right? But predominantly there's strong advice and there's weak advice. Weak advice is the advice that you give to people that are fucking weak. They aren't capable of carrying out strong advice. So you
hmm
give them the weak advice. Strong advice are people that are strong and are capable of carrying out that advice. And so often you hear weak advice being given to the strong and strong advice being given to the weak. It has to be contextualized, you know?
right. They got to
So
take in levels.
they have to take in,
They have to take, or from going weak to strong, they have to take the weak first in order to start understanding the strong advice. If they
yeah,
so much
yeah,
as get to that point.
even understand, okay, what's the weak advice here? What's the strong advice?
Yeah.
Never just take one, because if there's someone's giving advice, there's a counter part to it. There's the weak counter or there's the strong counter to that advice.
Mm.
What's the advice you would give a strong person? Okay, what's the advice you would give to a weak person? Transition. How do I get strong? Anybody know? Does anybody know? Anybody in the house know how to get strong?
Um.
Train Wing Chun.
Um.
I'm not even gonna let you get that one
Um.
wrong.
Um.
Yeah, again, see,
I was gonna say I was gonna say I was gonna go through the whole thing actually. I was gonna say attain our humanity until training.
and notice I'm referring to the center line this whole time, and the transition between the center line, and yeah, yeah.
Is
Seal and towel. Good,
attaining
good call. Seal and
is
towel. 3 breaths.
is attaining humanity strength? It's an
Um,
easy answer.
you know what? Obtaining humanity. As much as I love that conversation, it's too subjective.
It's too subject.
It's too subjective. What we can attain is integrity within ourselves. 3 breaths.
Mm. Integrity is structure.
Third breath. Take it. The harder you make this sealant towel on yourself, the easier it will be. That's how Wing Chun works. You make it really hard. I know you don't have weights, you don't have resistance, so you really have to make up for that. Nim lick, squeeze, grind. Don't let anything but the neck loose, everything tight. If someone were in you right now, they would die. You would crush them to death. If someone were in
That's
you, they
me.
would. Yeah, I know that sounds a little queer, but
But that's me. I'm already inside myself. Wait, wait. Am I dying? Am I killing myself actively?
well, if you're yin and yang, you want to kill yourself because the other side would be life.
Belief through actions.
Well, William S. Burroughs always says you don't have to chase after your death; it's always with you. Well, he
Yeah.
said that. He said that.
Oh,
I mean it.
um, Christopher Hitchens, man. Christopher Hitchens had this very similar quote, and I believe it was influenced by William S. Burroughs. It was what was it? It was no, you have to appreciate because he was in his last book, Mortality, that he was dealing with before he died. It's like a 90-page book, very small. Um, I won't have to wait for my death when it comes for me. I'll embrace it willingly. And then he said, there's no with how did he word it? The way he words things is weird. There's no dishonesty to appreciate the truth that I don't have a body. I am a body.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much Jimi Hendrix. I'm
Right.
gonna have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
die when it's time for me to die, so let me do what I want to.
Right. Yeah. Dude, it's
With your
interesting how
body,
there's
right? Do what I want with
right.
my body. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right. I probably worded the quote wrong, but
That's right. I suck at paraphrasing as well.
I wrote a quote though that generates from that. I said, "Life generates great uncertainty. Is the cat in the box? Uh, um,
Is he
predictions
alive?
are predictions are folly in light of momentary truths. I am a body. I do not have one." Well, something like that. I can't even quote my own quote. Goodness gracious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, death.
um. Yeah, man. There's the likes of Randy and Hitchens are sorely missed. Sorely
I
missed
know,
because
man.
when you hear others like Sam Harris or some of the other guys from our camp, the-
Yeah.
they're almost as bad as Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, they
You
just
know,
don't have the I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if it's that they lack originality or that
now
their
it's wit.
originality is
It's
just
wit and fighting and balls. Wit and
wit.
balls. I call it
Wit and
fortitude.
ballsack.
Yeah, fortitude is
Fortitude,
the combination there.
resilience? No, not
Um,
resilience.
they just don't have that attack, that fighting attack spirit
Yeah.
that people like Randy, people like Hitchens
Yeah,
had. You know,
I really think that comedy and wit is a real important part
yeah,
of speech, and of
absolutely.
getting points
Uh
across,
huh. Yes.
huge.
Yeah. That's what Jackie Chan, right?
Yeah, that's why Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan, bro. He Jackie Chan gets some really physical realities expressed through his comedy. You know,
Right.
he expresses stuff that a lot of the less dimensional characters cannot. You know, as great as they are, they're still not as dimensional. And I think humor and wit is what it gives you dimension as a human being.
Yeah.
It would. I don't know. On one hand, I wonder, but I would think it would suck to not have a good sense of wit, good sense of humor, especially in
Yeah.
like the only way I can survive these days is by being able to fucking laugh, man. I have some of the
Right.
most retarded shit happen. Like, oh, where did it go? It's gone. Let's just go ahead and I don't know, commit an hour or two, maybe three. Let's do three. Yeah, let's do 3 hours. We'll commit 3 hours. Let's laugh the whole time because otherwise you're gonna self combust and explode. You just have to fucking laugh. You have to laugh at how fucking funny it all is. The fact that we have to live and go through all this shit only to fucking die and
Yeah.
be forgotten within like I don't know, depending on who you are. I mean, I think my goal in life is to be forgotten before I die.
Yeah.
It must be, you
It
know,
must be.
it must be because I ain't doing stuff to make myself any more popular historically here. Um,
Yeah, I don't care about yeah, it's
Legacy.
yeah, the legacy is not really much to
Yeah,
care
yeah.
about
I
really
think
because
you and I actually have the same exact philosophy regarding legacy. and that is the word ball sack.
Yeah, Harry. Ball
So
sack.
yeah, legacy. Oh yeah, synonym for ball sack. Yeah.
Sometimes with hair.
So
uh,
all right,
yeah,
listen,
legacy
guys.
is silly.
I gotta get rolling here, get on the day. Any questions, any comments, any thoughts, concerns?
Tragedy needs comedy.
Without tragedy, there is no comedy. Yes, yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Mm.
That's right. Um, yeah, I mean,
That was about it. Yeah, that was about
in
it.
closing, I would just like to recap that it's not okay as a Wing Chun man to believe in fucking nonsense. It's not okay. Not in my camp. It's never been okay. I've let it go for a while. I'm going to be honest. I've let it go because of what happened with Randy and that whole thing. I mean, we're talking some gnarly multi-billion-dollar shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm out. I'm out. Yeah, and so I acquiesced. But I have to say, there's strong and there's weak. Wing Chun is not weak. It will never be weak. We may perish and be buried. Hopefully, we'll still be in Kimima. And we'll be
Yeah.
Nimlik. We'll be Nimlik
Don't
and
put me in the
Kimima still.
coffin.
You know, they
Just
won't
just
know to
like
they won't know to bury us. They'll still think we're alive.
oh dude, that'd be cool if they just like if they took my skeletal remains and then they positioned it in Kimi Ma on top of my gravestone.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I want a titanium skeleton of myself in Kimima, and it, of course, it's watching over. I got a black robe on, you know. I got my
All
robe
right,
on.
Wolverine.
Damn, I got to get more into science fiction and anime or whatever, man. If that's what they're doing, yeah. Anyway,
Well,
very
yeah.
good. Justin, I hope that you have hung the ball by the string. One of the suggestions I have for Justin for training is to hang a ball and then have it just out of reach and have that ball hanging right at eye level. And then
Mhm.
when you're doing all your everything, you want to cover the ball. You want to make sure that you would be right on the ball. You don't actually want to hit the ball. And
Right.
then if you then you can practice standing, having it centered, and hitting the ball, hitting the ball. You can also do that. It's a separate exercise. But the
So
important
reiterating,
exercise,
it's the ball is the point of field. Is that what they call it? The point of field and drawing
yeah,
the point of field. Yeah, yeah.
that's right.
I think there's a
That's
different
right.
term for it, but yeah.
And there's different ways to use the ball on a string method. Different ways. There's a lot you can do with it. I need to yeah, yeah. I should I'm gonna set one up because I have it set. I have it all here. I should set one up and show you. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. You can actually have it like for Justin, I just want you to not focus on hitting it, being right out of range, just so you get the he and Sao and get everything where it needs to be, right? But
In the point.
then in training, you can actually do a seal and towel and have the ball right here. Yeah, the
Okay.
ball would be right here. And so then you actually are punching, you actually are he and Sal, right? He and Sal. And now you're not getting wrapped up in the string, right? You got you're manipulating it so it goes around.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'm saying you got to be cognizant of the string. Don't forget it's. It's just a ball.
Right.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you can, but you can use it as, because you would use the term focal point.
Focal point. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So as a focal point proper, it would actually be here, right? Because this is where your focal point is in Wing Chun, is right here, not
Hmm.
not here, but here.
Hmm.
Visually, when you're doing your seal mentality, you should almost look like, like you're cockeyed
Like
and
you're
cross-eyed.
cross-eyed. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
right. Because you should be, just everything else should be blurred, but this
Hmm.
should be micro clear, because this is the place where you want control. You don't care about control out in the blur. You only respond to the clear. Right?
Right. Yeah.
This
It's
this is
you
big
have your
philosophy.
range.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, as a focal point, you would want it where your wrist is, because if you're going to hit something, you're going to hit through it. Um, and again, there's no striking in my system, right? So you're making sure that if they're coming in, that they would come in this much. They would
Hmm.
come in this much. So you're not punching through it as much as allowing them to come in this much before you then back up.
I see. I
If
see.
you punch and back up, it's not going to do anything. So
Right.
you have to punch, you have to allow them to go through your fist to the
Allow them to go
wrist
through.
and
Yeah.
then readjust.
I
Usually
love that.
going around.
I love that rhyme. Allow them to go through your fist to the wrist. Through your
Very
fist
good.
to the wrist. That is a great, yeah, that's great rhyme.
Yeah, and good. I'm glad you're getting that together. That's going to really help you out, and I think a lot of this will be something that you can offer to your students as well. Sifu Chad for those that, not everybody needs it, but
Yeah.
um, uh, uh, I find a lot of people have problems focusing on uh, or getting the focal point correct. You know,
Right.
having that ball there, um, first, to give them aim. Where is their aim? And then, because this is important too, right? Let's say you don't want the ball to be close, you want it to be out of touch. Now you throw a bomb foul. Well, you don't do that, do you? No, you do this, because that's in the trajectory of the
Right.
ball. Yeah. So
Hmm.
anyway, uh,
I like to
this,
imagine a triangle, a triangular point. Um,
yeah,
yeah, which is the focal point, by the way.
right.
It's just like
And
another way to say it.
but having a physical one there really helps for the visual, for them to get the visual, because not having anything there is really challenging to get your vision to focus on nothing.
Yeah, you got to
Y-
connect the dots. You got to find a
Yeah,
dot and
yeah,
connect
your
it. You got to
vision
connect the
wants to
dots.
look out.
It's
Yeah,
like dot, dot, dot,
it's
right?
like the constellations of the stars, right? You're going to
Exactly.
see a
Yeah.
bunch of stars unless you connect the dots and see those dots
Right.
regularly. So that's a very good analogy.
Connect the
Yeah,
dots.
very good analogy. So,
We got
or
four
as it,
so far. All
or
right.
as in the punk rock song goes, connect the goddamn dots, put
Connect
together the
the
goddamn pieces. Early '80s punk rock song. I got all these early '80s punk rock songs that no one's ever heard of, but I've heard them over and over and over, because they didn't make records and shit. They were just punk rock bands, right? And all the you probably got the same thing too, of like songs from maybe bands you were in. Nobody's ever heard the songs before, but you've heard them a billion times. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Yeah, and the main thing that I'm working with Justin on, and it's a very common thing. It's something that you'll always be working on in Wing Chun. Ip Man, the last thing someone says, oh yeah, they saw every time they saw Ip Man was doing Hien Sao. right? Even old man Ip Man, when he was doing the opium and drinking or whatever he was doing, man, he was always just doing Hien Sao. That's how important Hien Sao is. One of the things, again, I want to remind you, Hien Sao, you define an art, be it painting, music, martial arts. You define an art by what? By what it does a lot of, right? You
Hmm.
define an art by what it does a lot of. What does Wing Chun do a lot of? A lot of Hien Sao. So understand that I was joking around, only half joking around with Justin by saying there's another word for Wing Chun. Do you know what it is? Hien Sao,
Ian Sal. Yeah. Yeah.
right? I've done that. Like I do that with words. There's another word for Wing Chun. It's called Siom Tao, right? There's,
Hmm.
but I'd even go as far as saying there's another word for Wing Chun. It's called Hien Sao. I do that with. There's another word for skateboarding. It's called falling. There's another word for
Yeah.
surfing.
You
It's
know,
called paddling.
when I can't I think it was after I learned all the forms in that first year from you, um, it made the correlation of he and Sao, and I was like, wow, he and Sao, because he and Sao is Tan Sao, he and Sao is Fook Sao, he and Sao is Gon Sao, he and Sao is Bon Sao. It's
Yeah,
he and Sao is everything.
Hien Sao is everything. It literally encompasses
It's a
everything.
circle.
It literally encirculates everything. Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and Sal is really important. I was just thinking about, man, when you lose this, what do you fucking got, bro? It was really concerning me yesterday because I was up for hours playing guitar. Yes, I got the most amazing rig and amazing sound going, and it's raining. It's raining, and the parking lot, there's nobody around. So I got this thing cranked up and it's in my car. I got 12-inch Celestian being pumped with a tube amp, a
Fucking H.
micro terror tube amp. This thing, right? I got this
Yo.
thing. This is like for like death metal, you know. And
Mhm.
it's got like a part solid state, part tubes, AX7s on, and uh, and I'm playing this, and I got my pedals, and I also have another thing because this is how bad my carpal tunnel has gotten. I really need to. I need to. I need to double up my training is what I need to do. Um,
Double up, triple
I
up
know,
Hien
but if I
style.
double up my training, that's less guitar playing.
Ah. Sleep
Uh,
less.
so there's a thing that I got that allows me to continue to make amazing noise and not have to do this. And it's this.
Ooh.
And what this
Was
is,
das?
it's just like a touch thing. So this. So
Oh,
it's
I
like
see.
a
It's a little
keyboard.
keyboard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a
Okay.
synthesizer, and it has its own onboard mic, and it connects to other synthesizer modules of this sort, which I have, and
Mm.
um, but what happens is my hands get so numb I can't feel the strings anymore. I literally I'll like go what the hell, and my finger is stuck underneath the string, and I don't even feel it. I'm like, oh my god, it's so bad. So what
Ouch.
I'll do is I'll get my numb hands and go and play on this, and I can get any sound out of this connected to the then it's when it's connected to the effects, it takes it a whole nother level. So can sound like a guitar or anything else. It's a synthesizer,
Mm.
So but what's really cool is Korg, man, I love these things. They're they've got all kinds of MIDI and sync tempo sync to it, right?
Oh, cool.
But like there you go. Let's see.
Whoa. Ooh.
So anyway, I mean that's just off the
Huh.
little speaker. It's a battery,
Yeah.
so but this thing has saved me from not having to I could put the guitar down and I could still keep um exploring, doing my sonic explorations, because that's what you do as a musician.
Yeah.
You explore the sonic possibilities and all the things that, and man, I was just in like seventh heaven. It was last night was the first time I was able to do this, right? So I'm up playing
Uh,
guitar, playing this. Anybody that might have walked by, I don't think anyone did, but if they did, they must have thought like Satan himself was in that vehicle. Like, yeah, I mean, it was just
in the church
amazing.
parking lot.
Oh man, and I was getting like church organ sounds out of this too, and layering on them and stuff. Man, it was wild.
That's funny.
Um, but yeah, this has really saved me. But the problem is now when I wake up, I can't. I literally, I could like my hand could be cut off. I wouldn't even know. I can't like. I'm like, oh come on, man.
Mm,
So yeah, it looks like I am gonna have to double up on the training in order to
mm,
take care of this thing, because I sure as hell ain't gonna let them cut me open. And
make your hands weak. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, just take away the strength out of my hands. I'm figuring somebody is gonna get smart and figure out a way to deal with it. It's not coming
Yeah.
from the hands. For me, it's from all the grappling, and it's up in the neck. It's a combo. It's in the neck and also in the carpal, but it's more here than it is here, because you can get the carpal thing to settle down, but or not be inflamed, but still have the issue. So
Dude,
yeah,
for me, I get a shooting pain from my funny bone that goes up to my wrist when I'm playing guitar for too long or something.
mm,
Yeah, it's like mm, mm,
yeah, and being in a car and doing it too
yeah,
is that's horrible. But you know it's more horrible? Not being able to play, man, just sitting there and going, "Oh
exactly.
man, I
Yeah, I
gotta
wish I
play,
could play
man."
some music right now. Like,
And hear some music, because it's like you want to
yeah, I
hear,
hear it.
especially when you got the gear, man. I got the man.
I I was playing
I feel
music at
bad for
the
people.
yeah, I feel bad for people too. I was playing I was playing music at the coffee shop open mic last night. Me being the only one, I played for about an hour and a half, and I was asked the profound question, or what has now become a profound question. So what kind of music do you like to play? I was like, well, I used to have a very straight answer for that. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and sometimes 50s. Sinatra, Zappa, and David Bowie, and Sublime, yeah. But now my answer to the question is like, the question seems so profound to me. It's like, what do you play? Like, what kind of music do you play? Now it's like, I play what I hear in the air. Yeah, that's like now, now that's the answer to the question. It's, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
Coltrane. Yeah, the Coltrane answer, which is
Yeah,
play
the
what I
Coltrane
hear.
answer.
Yeah, play what I
Ah,
hear.
play what I
Yeah,
hear now.
and great people have followed that advice. Chick Corea is one that also lives by that advice. Chick Corea says it differently. He says, "If you don't hear it, don't play it."
Yeah.
Which I think is huge. I think one of the most important things to do, and I don't do it enough, is to sing what you play. You know,
Mm, yeah.
really
Huge.
good players, like really good players. They're not necessarily a good example of this is the guy that plays Bach. Um, a very famous Bach pianist. I
I
can't.
know another pianist that you might know that does the similar. Oscar Peterson.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
yeah
yeah.
he would go, he would mouth or say the notes, scat the notes, I should say, scat the notes as he played them,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've heard many people say that if you're able to scat your notes or play or vocalize your notes as you're playing your instrument, like
Hmm.
you're pretty up there, man. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
it's
that
because it's great training.
I do it when I like if I haven't been playing for a long time and I pick up an instrument, I do it. I absolutely do it because otherwise I don't remember where things are and what I'm trying to do, and so you just go into
Right.
patternistic playing, you know. So,
Hmm.
but it, but once do it, then you know we're pattern seeking creatures, so we tend to then fall into pattern. And so I'm always trying to break out of pattern in music and trying to
Hmm. Hmm.
I want to close with this concept as a martial art concept as if I meant to. And that is when you're fighting, break pattern, don't fall into pattern, right? When you're
Yeah.
fighting yourself, which is a big theme in today's classes, uh, that's how you fight yourself is by not falling into the same patterns. You fight
Right.
pattern. So it really is the way of fighting. And it is also the way of fooling. Because if I want to beat you, what do? I
Make a
make
pattern.
you, I get you to follow a pattern. And then I just
Fall into
break
my
that
pattern.
pattern. Now
Fall
break.
into.
Right? Makes sense, right?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, boy, that was the longest ending of a class I think ever. No, it isn't. The
Ever.
live classes are always those kinds of endings. It's like, okay, end of class, and then 3 hours later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, now the real class begins.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. Yeah, that reminded me somebody a guy was saying, "Oh, you work all the time." This ethnic guy that works at the liquor store. He owns the liquor store. He's probably got all the money in the world. And one of the guys in front says, "Oh, you ever take a break?" And he's, "Oh, you know, you know." And I just said to myself, "Man, for this guy, work is when he isn't at work." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You probably understand that when you get so
yeah,
when you're involved in work, usually your days off are when you're the most busiest. You know,
yeah. Because you got to
um,
do so much chores and
that's
errands
right.
and
That's right.
housekeeping and stuff for yourself.
I so do not miss that because I often wonder. I'm like, how would I even do that? It takes me some days like 3/4 of the entire day just to do housekeeping.
Dude,
Like,
I know,
yeah.
right?
And the way you do it
I,
is you have a house that it's okay for things to be all messed up and disorganized. You can just put it in a box, make it look good, and you're good to go, you know. But
and
when you're
yeah,
in a vehicle, there ain't no faking housekeeping, man. It's like you
no,
can't just put it and go, okay, yeah, let's go. No, no, no. Yeah, today's housekeeping is going to take an entire day. Like I've got stuff I need to do under the vehicle, wrench and stuff. That's going to take a whole fucking day, you know, and
dude,
that's
yeah.
just housekeeping.
Yesterday, I know. Yesterday, making this or setting up this table, I was like, oh, I could probably do this in an hour. 3 hours. Took me 3 hours. Yeah, took me 3 fucking hours.
Yeah,
And
I don't know
yeah,
how people do it.
yeah.
I'm in awe. I'm mystified. You know,
But the tables are really nice. I mean, I used to do this kind of stuff. Like, engineer on duty was also assembling
that's
tables.
right. That's right.
So,
You were able to put those old skills to work. All right,
yeah,
man. Well,
twisting.
will you be available for the Zeekers
Tomorrow?
Sunday early evening?
Sunday early evening.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
can.
All right, bro. Well, if I don't talk to you before then, I'll see you then, man. And
Alrighty.
Justin, if you're still around, aloha,
Ah, oh, my
salutations,
knees.
and have a great day, bro.
Thanks, you too. See ya.